So welcome, Ken. Day 2 of CoinGeek Week. Welcome on the show here. What are your thoughts on the conference so far?
Oh, this is like much more people showed up than I initially thought, and we are getting serious attention from not only the crypto people but also the new businesses. That's my impression.
Obviously the big talk of what's been going on is the hash war.
Mm-hmm.
What are your just general thoughts about kind of going into November 15th and what's happened since? What opinions, thoughts, concerns?
Right. This hash war thing is something we wanted to avoid, but I now think it was necessary, and we just need to prove to the world that the security is the most important for public blockchain. So how do we secure the chain? We needed to show to the world and how the Nakamoto consensus work. So that is something, anything less than, at least anything market cap less than Bitcoin Cash, that means one day they can be hijacked and, all the things riding on those chains will be worthless, right? So we really had to have this.
How's it been? So you obviously, you run the Tokyo Bitcoin Cash meetup.
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo, from what I've heard, is the heart and soul of Bitcoin these days.
Mm-hmm.
How has it affected just generally the people involved is it kind of split? Is everyone at each other's throats or what?
Mm-hmm. I wasn't there last week. We've been doing weekly Bitcoin Cash meetup since last November. I wasn't there last Wednesday, but I am one of the organizers, and the chain were split, but the community don't necessarily need to split now. So we don't have really, the bad feelings towards the ABC people personally, but that's where we are.
Do you think it'll? How do you think this is going to play forward? How do you think it's going to play out moving forward with respect to managing these communities? I think it's an interesting dilemma where I think the Bitcoin Cash community
Mm-hmm.
all agrees on the same goal of scaling Bitcoin,
Mm-hmm.
which before there was the divide of some people just did not want to scale Bitcoin on chain.
Mm.
That's not the debate here. So there's aligned philosophies, just different roadmaps to get there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest casualty of this war is the fact that there is this split now of people.
Mm.
How do you think that'll affect obviously the implications for merchants, like we were just talking with a member from Brewdog, where, Bitcoin was down for 15 days for them,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
To them,
mm-hmm.
if a payment processor for their credit cards was down for 15 minutes, it would be dangerous. So obviously there's an effect on merchants, but how's it going to affect the Bitcoin Cash, SV, whatever we want to call ourselves now, the Bitcoin community itself?
I've been doing grassroots activities for a long time, and we managed to convert the restaurant owners, bar owners to accept Bitcoin Cash without payment processor support. So what's happening now is we spend a lot of time and energy, explaining to the shop owners and how to use Bitcoin.com wallet, and this is how they can accept. Then if you do, then we come over to your shop, for meetup. And at the end of the day, if they can do, they make additional revenue, that's good for them, right? And typically those merchant owners, they are anti-central government, the fiat money. So that's what we have been doing. But now, as you mentioned, those merchants to accept coins now, and we have this dilemma right now. But as an individual or Bitcoiners point of view, I mean, we have gone through crazy period in the past, and Japanese exchange lost $700 million worth of name coins, and they get hacked left and right, and account gets frozen. So as an individual Bitcoiner, this is something we can put up with. But as a merchant or businesses, this is really unacceptable, right? So we really need stable protocol for the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have there been any presentations that have really stood out to you so far, or any that you're looking forward to?
You mean
here at CoinGeek?
Here at CoinGeek,
CoinGeek, yeah. I mean, the one that Brewdog Martin just presented earlier today, that was really inspiring and insightful. And we really need to take care of businesses using Bitcoins. That make me think. I'm really extreme anarchist type. I come from silver and gold camp, and I was a candidate for 2012 lower house election in Tokyo, and so I kind of have a political background, and it's like a Ron Paul movement at that time. We told Japan is really too much centralized in Tokyo, and we wanted to remove the power of central government and make the world more a better place. But when I think of these businesses and average people starting using Bitcoin, I'm willing to put my anarchism aside, right? And at the end of the day, as Craig says, we don't want to scare big businesses and average people away from using Bitcoin onwards. So I'm willing to put aside anarchism, and maybe I start wearing suits, in the meetup.
No.
So at the end of the day, we don't want to break the law. We want Bitcoin to be neutral, and we don't want anybody to break the law, right? And
Yeah.
So
do you I guess what are you looking forward to now that we have this split with Bitcoin SV itself? What are you looking forward to seeing Bitcoin do now moving forward that hasn't been possible in the past?
Well, when I think of it now, many of the services and the apps I thought they were very cool are really too geeky for average users. Although I thought, some of the projects I invested in and I've been helping, but it's really too geeky still. So we would like to see. I'm investor, seed round investor in Ryan's company, yours, and Money Button or Alex, Hand Cash app, or I'm a representative for Gap 600 in Tokyo, doing this zero confirmation service for exchange. And I'm also helping some Israeli-based companies, and we have this hardware wallet, which is using Israeli military tech, and which is much easier than Trezor and Ledger, and right.
Good.
So those services have to be able to come out and first, so that we attract more bigger businesses and average users. So
yeah,
that's good.
Great.
Yeah, and also I'm setting up Bitcoin or crypto users association in Japan, meaning we have business associations, right, representing crypto businesses, but we don't have a users association. So I'm hoping to, when we become big enough, then we want to be a watchdog of the let's say exchanges. Maybe we do the comparison chart or something, and also hope to be able to lobby the government for favorable regulation, maybe including tax regulations. Yeah,
Okay.
those things. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for everything you've done in Tokyo.
Right.
I know that you're a driving force behind kind of building that community and all that kind of stuff. I hope the divisions aren't too striking for you guys, because I know I'm sure there's a lot of different opinions and all that kind of stuff. So I hope that with the community that you do have doesn't keep splitting, and I hope to see unity again in Bitcoin.
Right.
soon.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, but I would like to really thank you guys for doing your show. I mean, you are the only independent media at this historic event in the Bitcoin. And can I ask you guys some questions?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So you guys are not full-time yet, correct?
No.
Yeah,
So-
just kind of a hobby on the side, weekly show. We do our research on the side. But yeah, just something fun that we started. And, if our early listeners are listening right now, it was pretty bad when we first started. But, got a lot of complaints about sound quality, and, started to upgrade it up more and more and more. And now we're here and got this nicer mic, and so we'll see where it goes. But
We were the equivalent of hobby nodes. We were Raspberry Pi nodes.
Right. So and then what is your plan for? I mean, what are your next steps after this?
I mean, we'd like to keep doing this. I think what we enjoy the most is just education. So that's the big thing. The only reason why we started it really was because there was just no education. There's very few. I mean, at the time, the only thing that we really cared about educating on was scaling, right? So that just the fact, literally just putting content out that reads the quotes from Satoshi, where Satoshi says specifically, there's no scaling issue. We can scale to Visa levels today with existing hardware. That was one in 2009. So that was kind of the driving force. But I think what we've come to, I think we both have a big appreciation for the Bitcoin white paper. And I've noticed, I think something that wasn't brought up a lot, a main contentious issue in this hash war was specifically, there are people that think the white paper is outdated. And there are people that think the white paper was the design that makes Bitcoin work. And I would like to see moving forward, just helping people understand why the design of Bitcoin is perfect the way it is. And so, I don't know, we don't have a plan. We just want to educate people. And we like doing this too. We really like talking with other people that people can learn from. Because I think there's a shortage of people asking good questions out of people. So maybe do that as well. But,
Right. What made you guys? I mean, there are so many independent medias and so many people were following hard fork, but I guess you guys the only one, right? What made you? I'm just curious. What made you guys pass over this great November 15 hard fork?
Well, for me, I don't know. The issue of sound stable money has always been, why I've gotten into Bitcoin.
Right.
So going through this November 15th hard fork, it was a little frustrating to see the instability of Bitcoin and, the route that SV has. I believe that's ultimately going to lead towards stable sound money. And I saw that vision that they have versus the other side of it, where it's more experimentation. So for me, it was a big stability aspect of Bitcoin and trying to explain it to new people too. So I'm out, trying to tell my friends, family about this stuff and having to go through the core cash SV route. Now
Mm-hmm.
so it makes it a little difficult, trying to sell it to a merchant, like you were saying earlier, So yeah.
I would say too for myself, what was the turning point. So what we tried to do was our position throughout the whole thing was that we just wanted to watch Nakamoto consensus play out. And we wanted one chain to emerge. We did not want a split. The split, I thought, was the worst outcome. I now think it may have been a good outcome because of some of the emperor has no clothes in some capacity for some individuals that I've seen. So I think in some ways it's exposed the way some people think that I didn't know before. But for me, what was most frustrating with respect to the stability aspect, I actually wrote something. I wrote a response to Roger. When Roger put a video out that initially was like why I choose ABC or whatever, he was very much coy with the fact that he didn't care if DataSig. I had never seen actually someone analyze whether or not Craig's statement about DataSig Verify making the legality of Bitcoin questionable.
Right.
What I saw out of Roger's video was an admission that he didn't care. And to me, that was so frustrating because I'm not saying I enjoy regulation or anything like that, but when you are willingly putting Bitcoin at risk, to me, that's the most unstable thing you could do. And so when I saw that happen to me, it was so it was an admission of like, we're going to play ball with government. And that's not what I've ever wanted to do. I've always just wanted sound money. I think there's reform that is needed in government, obviously in all walks of life, but I don't think that's Bitcoin's fight. I think Bitcoin's fight is sound global money. And if you do that, good things follow. Right. And then the last thing I will say, because I actually very much, I've told Ryan this about, I admire the fact that Ryan has stuck by one principle, and he said something about this, and it's controversial to ever even bring up Craig's name, but I actually believe this fork turned into let's purge Craig Wright from Bitcoin. And to me, I've learned a lot from him just listening to him and reading stuff he's written, and I don't actually think he's someone that needs to be purged. And I think that when it became about that, to me, it was a special sweet sense of irony coming from the permissionless crowd that we needed to purge someone from Bitcoin.
Yeah, so many people get distracted by some of the behaviors that but yeah, I managed to focus on the ideas, right?
Yeah,
and
that's what we should all do, right?
Right. But I listen into most of his videos on YouTube, and what he's saying is really makes sense, and it's only a few things that he get frustrated and bad words come out. But
yeah, he's also very prone to leaps in logic, and I think that frustrates. If you can't follow where he's going, which is true a lot of the time, then it's pretty easy, I think, to get frustrated with someone where you can't follow their logical progression. I think he does that, but I think everyone does that.
Nobody is perfect,
yes.
and my one of my friend, I think he's one of the smartest men I met in Japan. And funny thing is, he's doing this property tech business, also using blockchain and things, but. Strange enough, his character is exactly same as Craig. It's like, I think my impression is that it's like when you drive Lambo, and you drive too slow, then your energy you need to,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think smart people are like that.
Yeah,
I agree.
So,
yeah,
people get attached to his personality and not the value that he's actually adding. They let that blind them from the value that he does produce.
So
yeah. Well, we'll go get some lunch.
Halfway
through. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Very good.